Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are here with the SDF Macross season finale. A season finale? It doesn't have one season series finale? No, there's more shows. We're here at the
Well,
end of SDF Macross.
it is the end of this series.
Well, the
There's
other,
more series to go.
the other ones aren't called SDF Macross though, right? It's
That's
Macross
true.
Plus, Macross 7, Macross Delta. Macross, do you remember?
Do you remember Love? Yeah.
No, it's the Alzheimer's one. Do you remember? How about you go ahead and tell us about what happened in last episode of Days of Our Lives?
Yes. Last episode, second to last episode is episode 35, Romanesque. Essentially, you have the two plots coming together. The love story between, or love triangle between Misa, Minmei, and Hikaru gets even more complicated because now, after quitting her music, Lin Minmei um, runs to Hikaru's home and stays there, at least for a little bit, apparently. But Misa finds out, runs away. Quasm sets an attack on in the industrial area. Uh, Apparently, the city's not called Macross City because they kept referring to another name. But anyway, um,
Macrossity.
yeah, something like that. And in order to install a reaction engine to power their ship, apparently they want to leave or something. But Misa, knowing that Lin Minmei was staying with Hikaru, doesn't call Hikaru to combat stations, even though that was his job. And he finally finds out and flies away and engages them. But Quesem gets away with the engine, and as a parting gift, he sets a series of bombs during the city, setting the city alight. This happens on Christmas Eve. Uh, the Valkyries have to return to help the population with fire busting missiles because they have those things, of course. And at the final scene, we have Lin Min who has made a Christmas Eve dinner for Hikaru and herself, of course, and they share a kiss, but not before Lin Min pleads with Hikaru to leave the military and stay with her.
Two things come to my mind all of a sudden. One is just kind of an observation. Despite all the fighting that's going on, with like the Centrati and, everything going on since the end of the war, it's kind of funny that Hikaru thinks it's safe enough where he lives to, one, not lock his door, and two, leave his door just open. I guess he had nothing to steal. At least, well, I guess he does though. He's Minmay posters everywhere, the most desired objects in the world.
I think the idea, well, first of all, it's a setup for for the, oh, I overheard the conversation kind of thing, of course.
I
Even though
don't
the
know. His
walls are,
windows were,
yeah, the walls are pretty thin anyway, so it's probably made out of sheet metal or something. It's a prefab. And second is like, oh, I was so shocked about this that I forgot to completely lock the door, but that's just a poor excuse.
the other thing. Um, and I guess for anyone commenting on all this, remember that we recorded all these three last final episodes all together, so we didn't have any chance to get any back and forth from you. But you said, I asked you, is that a fold engine they're going after? And you said yeah. And it occurs to me now, it's a reaction engine. It just means it's a nuclear engine.
Well, okay.
And we know that the
Well,
fold devices are different from nuclear engines. And
no,
what?
no, no.
Yeah, they are. We
You
know they
see,
are.
yeah, but we see the symbol as a reaction symbol. That's what I mean. Fold technology is the act of jumping, but it's powered by reactionary technology.
Yeah, being powered by a thing doesn't make it the thing. Also, we don't know. Uh, we've never seen a fold device.
We have.
No, we saw a reaction engine. We know reaction is a substitute for nuclear. It's a nuclear engine. It's like a nuclear reactor. They're powering their ship. Assumedly, I guess they already have a full device on their ship. They don't have the power to take off or anything. Just clarification on my end. Look, if it turns out you're right, we'll find out in several months. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the fact they said a reaction engine and not a full device is the literal definition of words here.
Mhm.
Because I don't think that we can just make full devices. I think the factory upstairs, maybe?
Mhm.
But since we don't even know how the technology works, versus we know how nuclear reactors work, obviously
Hmm.
not you and me, but the people in the show,
Yeah.
um, because otherwise, remember, our scientist dude couldn't even figure out how the energy, the extra dimensional energy, was working that makes the shield around the Macross.
Yeah.
He's like, it's just fucking appearing, and we were in the room where stuff is like blinking in and out. It's
Yeah.
like where the fold device used to be. I don't know what's causing it, but I think I can figure out how to use it. Our
I
weird
mean,
space alien scientist guy.
I think they actually learned a couple of things in the interim. I think they've been improving their knowledge of stuff.
Here's the thing: is when I tried to react with Rafferty a couple of times,
Yeah.
he would point this. This is what he would say to you: "You're making that up. You're making that up. The
Yeah.
show never said anything." My argument was always, "Oh no, I'm trying to infer here. You're making it up. The show didn't say that." So I don't know. Is there a manga from Macross? I'm sure there must be.
No, I don't think it wasn't based on a manga. They might be.
No, I'm not saying
They
it's
may have
based on a
released.
manga. I'm saying that they might have released a manga.
Probably did. Probably did.
You don't like not merchandise a thing like this, right? You can't just like
Oh yeah.
you can't focus only on the shows. There had to have been like a well, I don't know. There probably isn't a light novel of Macross, but had to at least been the Japanese equivalent of a comic book.
See,
Well, I'm pretty sure there
is
is a
there?
manga for the other shows. I just don't know if there's one for SDF Macross. Because I mean, that would be the obvious way to fill in, any backstory. I don't know how much. I don't know how long they would have gotten away with printing a manga from Macross, though. Because either you do it the cheapo way, which is like the story adaptation of a movie, which is to say, just write down what happened in the movie, or
Yeah, there's some there's some illustrated books and light novels, but none of the one that actually, as far as I can see, covers the original series as is. Probably there is a manga somewhere. I know there's a manga. I know there's manga for other series, so because I read them, but
I guess that speaks to demand. Then you'd think if there was if this was the thing that people loved, they would have made it.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm coming out swinging against the show all of a sudden. But I don't know. It feels like if you like the show, even in the present, somebody could say, "Hey, let's make a manga for SDF Macross." I'm sure it would sell. Maybe it's a
I
rights
mean,
issue. Isn't there a rights issue right now about original SDF Macross? Disney owns the other shows, right? And then nobody
yeah.
owns SDF Macross?
Well, not Disney. Harmony Gold,
No, no.
international rights.
No, remember that was fixed like a year ago.
Yeah. Well, now what it is that when you talk about Macross, you have to talk Macross Robotech in in the wider, outside of Japan. So you can have Macross, you can release all things Macross after the SEF1.
Well, I think that's what I'm talking about. I think Disney has broadcast rights for everything else other than SDF Macross. I think you can watch like Macross Plus on SDF. You can watch Macross Plus on SDF Disney. I don't know what the fuck I was about to say.
No, in Crunchyroll, you can see Robotech in Crunchyroll. So I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember. Hold on.
I don't think it's Disney. I don't know why you come up with Disney. I don't. Did Disney buy out Harmony Gold?
I'm not talking about Harmony Gold. Macross is coming to Disney Plus with some major caveats. A lot of Macross anime is coming to Disney Plus. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm looking it up, and I'm
Yeah,
right.
but one thing is that they managed to put it in Disney Plus. Doesn't mean that Disney owns the rights, though.
Well, I said had the rights, didn't I? I said Disney has the rights. Also, I think if something is streaming on Disney Plus, it's not streaming in other places.
That's true.
Does this one list the caveats?
And there are at least 5 manga series. But again, I don't know if there's a
However, the
long.
two big omissions in terms of international releases are the original Macross TV series and the movie Do You Remember Love? So, yeah, that's what Disney does not have. I guess it's kind of funny to consider that the Disney legal department isn't gonna wrangle with Harmony Gold. I guess Harmony Gold has such a long history of defending its property
Yeah,
that even Disney's not going to. Oh yeah, even here at the bottom of the Forbes article, no doubt Harmony Gold are to blame here. It's the original Macross TV series was used to make Robotech along with Southern Cross and Mospedia. Mospedia.
Peter, Peter, yeah.
Uh, it's just funny. It's funny to think who Disney thinks its legal team cannot beat.
I think more of the fact that the legal team goes like, yeah, we could try to take on Harmony Gold and even win, but then that opens a complete kind of worms with people who had rights from FASA, which includes Microsoft, which includes a bunch of other people. It's gonna be a
You got to
shit show. They're
think
like,
that
you know what?
there is a good amount of money to be made though. Like you remember, well, no, I guess it would be on Harmony Gold's side, the fact that they stopped the production of was it FASA that was doing the Valkyrie molds?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
then they stopped them from doing it, but then they couldn't get the rights themselves for it. All they did was
oh,
stop
because
it from being made.
yeah, because it also includes Hasbro as well because of Jetfire. And it wasn't. I think it was. It did that Playmates. I think it's what also made, but Playmates still got bought out by Hasbro. So you have Microsoft. You have big companies there. You have Disney. You have Microsoft, and you have Hasbro.
I was just
Right
thinking
there,
I was
it's a
just
s- it's
thinking
a.
how an insignificant investment it would be for Disney to just try and buy Harmony Gold
I mean,
and
yeah, but
complete the set.
again, all speaking for somebody who actually has a Juris Doctor, all this stuff is really resolved with money.
That's what I just said. It
You
would be
get
an insignificant investment by Disney.
well, I don't. It depends on how much Disney would value the property, and I don't think Disney right now is thinking this it's just that valuable. It's
I don't
just
know. These
well,
companies buy these things with future predictions in mind, and they just
well,
don't seem to care how much money they spend sometimes.
yeah, but if you're talking about Star Wars or Marvel, that's one thing. You're talking about a show that you're using to essentially pat um, your lineup because that's what they're doing. They're just padding the lineup. They just have that one extra show because that's one of the problems that streaming is having right now. Because everybody's atomized, which means Disney only has their Disney stuff and a couple of other things. Actually, they actually bought out Paramount too, so now they have Paramount.
Like I said, they
Um,
just to when I'm saying it doesn't matter if they bought it or not money wise. It's like that thing where they talk about. I don't mean to politicize here, but the thing where they say when fining Trump for his gag order shit, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
well, it's $1,000 per tweet. And it's like, so you're fining him pennies then, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
For Disney to try even buy Harmony Gold would be
yeah, but I
nothing
think
to them.
yeah, I'm not thinking in terms of actual money amounts. I'm talking about return on investment. I don't think they're invested enough, and it's just we could just pay Harmony Go a couple of the same amount of money. We get the rights, we get to show it, and then we can cancel anytime, and that's it. We don't have to worry about it.
I don't know. I think it would give you complete control over. Well, I guess the point here being is that it's just distribution rights. I think in my mind, I was thinking of ownership
I mean,
instead of distribution. If you tried to,
if Disney were to say, okay, let's put Robotech aside, because by the way, Sony's also involved, well, because Sony has the rights to make a Robotech movie, which they have been optioned off, and they still have those rights.
that was a thought I had early on in our recording process of how angry I would be if Robotech got a live action movie before Gundam did.
Macross. Oh yeah, Gundam.
Oh no, see,
Which I
I
think
know that would be the logical point there. It would be that if before Macross, like no, Gundam should have had a live action movie a lot longer than Macross.
so. Right now, the only way I see Disney going is like, okay, we're just gonna junk Robotech and do all Macross, right? Because Macross has more series. It has already a huge made market in Japan, right? Which is big. It's big in Japan and some other areas. And most of the people who like Robotech, which are relatively a small group of people, I know because I was a member of the fandom. It was tiny, at least in the US. Yeah, they're gonna love Macross anyway because they're there for the robots and whatnot. So yeah,
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 because all you lose is Southern Cross and Mosquito, which
which are
I've
even
never
less,
heard of. So
which are
I
even
mean,
lesser. Not lesser in quality necessarily, but in an impact, right? So
well, I know I've looked them up back when I was like, are they part of the same show or anything like that? And it's like, no, they just Southern Cross at least shares just the SDF thing because it was like a theme, a naming theme.
yeah,
I don't
and
even.
all the video games that have come out from Macross as well, from arcade stuff to stuff in the PlayStation, everything else. Yeah, there's plenty. I mean, Robotech has two video games, and they're okay. I guess I played them back in the day, the Xbox, but yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, I never got into that. Um, I didn't obviously never watched Macross before all of this. Obviously, I didn't watch Robotech. I don't know why. Probably because when it all came out, I wasn't on the scene, as it were. Nothing in my area was showing that kind of stuff. Not until like TNT Monster Vision had that anime night where I first learned anime existed. Because I saw that before I even saw Dragon Ball Z, which was, Galaxy Express 999. Those things. Anyway, we've gotten quite off track here. Was there anything else to say about last episode or what's coming up in this episode? You wanna
I
you
you
wanna
know
state what team you're on finally before we hit the end?
no, I want the episode to speak for itself, good, bad, or indifferent, and then I'm gonna say why.
So you won't even state an allegiance until somebody already wins.
It's more of I already have my allegiance, but I want to do it within the concept of the show.
I can't even figure out why you'd be holding back. Like, is Misa gonna go crazy and stab somebody to death this episode and be like, "That's why. That's why I didn't want to be Team Misa." Or are we
uh,
gonna do like a time skip after this, where some reason we see like old Minmay and old Hikaru together, and Misa's just like in a room by herself with like 100 cats? Like, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I can't guess as to why you're holding back on just stating a team.
I'm just gonna let the show speak for itself.
Misa,
That's
I
all
guess
I'm gonna
like
say.
the only real reason I can think of is that Misa and Kaifun does happen, and you're like, this is not a good thing. This is why I'm not Team Misa. Kaifun's
I
really an
didn't. I
abuser.
didn't say I was. I really didn't. I didn't say that I wasn't Team Misa. I just didn't say that I wasn't.
Yeah,
I
that's what
haven't
I'm
said
saying.
anything.
When you're in the crowd, and everyone's declaring which side they're on, and you don't say anything, that means you're not on anyone's side.
Okay, fine. You want to drag it out of me? I am Team Misa. Always have been.
Okay, well there you go.
Because Lisa, that was her name, Lisa in Robotech. I don't know what her last. Lisa Hayes was her. From Hayase, they showed it out to Hayes. She was like one of my first anime crushes back in the day.
Again, it's weird. I guess a little bit weird since I keep saying that she looks exactly like the mom from Galaxy Express 999. Or it's not the mom, the mother figure.
Yeah,
Which I
motherfucker.
guess now that I think about it, in Galaxy 999, second time we see her, she's naked. So I guess something for you to look up later.
Yeah, I guess I remember that part too. But yeah,
Well, again, I saw the American cut that makes weird shit with the names and everything. It
yeah.
also cuts the screen time down by half. It's a really short movie. Yeah, no, I mean, I already stated all the reasons why I was for her, and then you obviously had a childhood crush, so I don't know. I now I'm
But
now I guess now I'm gonna
I'm gonna
watch it to figure out why you didn't want to say that. But okay.
there. I already said why, but I'll explain. We'll watch it and I'll tell you why.
Yep. Well, any final thoughts before we actually get into the final? I'm about to say final time we're going to see this, but then we're going to be watching the movie some point in
Hmm.
the future. So obviously not the last time we'll see the characters.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe we'll be watching the next series, and you'll know. You've seen most of this stuff before. But hey, I don't think it's impossible that somebody could animate like a Hikaru walking across the background that nobody ever saw before. So yeah, that was it. Final thought.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into it then. But before we get started, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, uncut, sorry, I can't do two things at once. As well as some early access stuff, you can check it out over on the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure. It's all support the channel, just a little bit extra. I guess I should say that in the recording. This episode seems to be slightly shorter than the other episodes, which were like 25
Well,
minutes long, weren't they?
yeah.
And this
24,
was
47. So yeah, a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, really.
Well, let's see. Episode 34 was 25 minutes and 17 seconds. Let's see. Episode 35 was 25 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, like a whole minute shorter. And we have the opening, so they didn't cut the opening. So I guess this
No,
really was the end of the budget.
Yep, pretty much.
I mean,
The
that doesn't make sense, really, because you could freeze frame and have a voiceover. The show, you were saying.
the show that I'm looking forward this summer is actually the New Adventures of Superman, which I saw the first series and first season, and now they got renewed, and I thought I was not gonna like it because like, oh, this is very twee, but then I
Oh,
actually
the
liked it.
cartoon one.
Yeah, the cartoon one.
Okay, yeah. I haven't. Yeah. I've seen screenshots. That's about it.
I actually liked it a lot, which surprised me because I'm not the biggest Superman fan, but yeah.
Oh, I love Superman. It's just I'm not that interested. I don't know. I guess Young Justice was my last big DC cartoon thing, which has Superman in it. Just not as a main character. Old and rusty. And then there's the Macross in the background. Sorry, that was just a
Farewell
joke
to
against me.
Tenderness, yeah.
やめようかな
What would that serve?
Nothing.
Well, I feel like she's like, maybe I'll quit to get away from Hikaru, and then, like Hikaru's here about thinking about quitting.
まだ決心がつかないのね
Probably doesn't help that they live on the same
あなた
street,
が
it
軍
feels
人を
like.
やめてくれるなら私歌手をやめてもいいわ
そんなこと気軽に言うもんじゃないよ。
でも何もあなたが殺し合いなんかする必要ないのに
僕だって好きでやってるわけじゃない。
I was about to say, is it weird for her that he has a poster of her in the place now that she seems to be living as well? But then I realized that's just the same as having a picture of yourself, which people do. Hey, that guy looks like Ryber.
もうダメかなって思った時
Oh, now you remember that part.
Oh, please don't be a clip episode here at the very end.
Yeah.
結婚式でも
We're gonna make it a sepia tone so you can understand it's the past.
もう一度戻りましょうあの頃に
みんな
There's no going back, sweetie.
Also, how things used to be, we weren't romantically involved.
Back in the day, there was a planet Earth full of people. They're all dead now, including your
mean-
parents. So there's no way to go back.
Also, to be fair, Hikaru landed because he saw a little bit of green. How were they in a fucking jungle?
I think there's somewhere else. I think maybe Brasilia or somewhere else.
One, Brasilia. Two, there is no Brazil.
これでまた昔
でやめそう。
大暴れできるぜ。手始め
Yeah, which would have gotten blasted the same as everywhere else.
Oh, they upped the. They upped the animation budget for the last episode.
Yeah, that's how we could afford to do sepia tone on the flashback.
Does give you a sense of the scale of the ship.
Well, I mean, if they could rip up all this planet and everything to lift off, they could have lifted off out of the ice. It's got to be the only retrofitted Centrati ship in existence.
こんなところにいたのね。探したわよ。総司令がお呼びよ。昔のブリッジで。
総司令が昔のブリッジで
泣いてたの？
まさか。クローディア、今までいろいろありがとう。私
退役するなんて言わないでよ。ダメよ。
You're the second highest ranked military officer on the planet.
彼を民名ちゃんに取られてもいいの？
仕方ないわ。
No, nobody steals anybody. They either stay or leave on their own accord.
それに引き換え私なんか一条君より年上だし堅苦しいし。
The only way to solve this
軍人です。
is
It's a
a
cage match.
I was say
Cage
Kirk,
match.
Kirk versus Spock. That fight that they have with the ball things.
そう
Not so funny now.
帰りますみんなあの頃のままなんですね。
君の新しい任務について話がある。
新しい任務ですか、艦長。
ん？
すいません、総司令。ここにいるとつい昔の癖で。
いやいや、構わんよ、早瀬君。実は君に艦長をやってもらいたいのだ。新しく建造される宇宙艦の艦長をな。
艦長。
引き受けてくれるね。
申し訳ありません、総司令。実は私、軍から離れようと思っています。
これはまた穏やかではないな。
I can't help but think that the first thing, even in retail, is keep your home life out of your job, and no one's capable of doing that here. Also,
Wow.
very sexist.
Yeah. Not a guy. Guy would never quit for a woman. But yeah, women always.
Except that literally Hikaru was exactly thinking about that.
Yeah.
Are we going back to pick up our other ship? Nope, city. I thought we were looking at ice.
この地球は。しかしな、早瀬君。我々はいつまでもこの星に留まり続けることはできんのだよ。この広い銀河系の中ではゼントラーディ軍と観察軍は今この瞬間も戦い続けている。彼らが再び地球を襲ってきたら、
I feel like we're pulling a Stargate,
これるという確率は万に一つもない。
そのために
like late season Stargate.
軍備の拡大を行っているのでは。
その通りだ。しかし考えてもみたまえ。我々があの大軍団に対抗するだけの武力を持てたとしたら、地球は戦うためだけの星になってしまうだろう。かつて偉大なプロトカルチャーたちがゼントラーディ人のような巨人兵を生み出し、そして自滅していったようにな。この地球の文化を絶やさぬためにも宇宙への移民を始めようと思う。
宇宙移民。
それも
So I'm thinking we construct bird-shaped ships that can time travel. I've got my new advisor telling me about it. Her name's Sarah Name?
このまま行けばマクロスのすぐそばまで。
I think it's also weird that when he talks to do the vibration thing again. But I think last time we saw Britai as a giant, he wasn't doing the vibration talking thing.
私も歌手をやめてもいい？
I think because he was talking. It's supposed. Well, I don't know. Sometimes they do it. Sometimes they don't. Where they're talking their own language as opposed to talking.
Okay, maybe it could be a language thing.
Yeah, but even then, sometimes they are talking supposedly the same language and they still have the vibratos. Vibrato.
I was thinking more of like an allegiance thing. Ritai has changed his way of thinking, so he doesn't vibrate anymore. It's very weird, but
早瀬さん、こんにちは、一条くん。
hey, bitch.
今日私あなたにお別れを言うつもりで来ました。私今日限りで軍を辞めてどこか遠くの町へ行くつもりでいました。だけど宇宙移民計画の一番艦の艦長に任命されて気持ちが変わりました。
宇宙移民？
ええ。
Oh, crazy.
人類がこのまま地
I
球
just
に住み
recorded
続ける
another
ことが
episode
でき
of
たとして
Banner of the Stars last night. Its episode was literally called Emigration.
これから生まれてくる子供たちのためにも、そして何万年か未来の人々に文化を伝えるためにも、私たちは銀河系のあらゆる星々に向けて飛び立つ必要があると思います。
Well, not everyone. Maybe only the habitable
宇
ones.
宙を文化で満たすために。
殺し合うためじゃなく。
Cultural imperialism. Yay!
私、あなたの歌好きよ。私にはあなた
All
み
five
たい
of
に
them.
文化を生み出すことはできないけど、それを守っていくことはできるかもしれない。早瀬さん、今ならはっきりと言える。一条くん、あなたが好きです。
Fuck,
運
man.
命さん、
Maybe it's time to just live as a polycule.
あなたも歌を大切に。
She's the one who's handling like an adult,
そ
finally.
れではこれで。
Well, I mean, she's literally pulling on Hikaru what Hikaru pulled on Minmay.
Yeah.
I loved you once. I hope you're happy with her. Then, if we had more episodes, Hikaru would show up later. See, look, this shit works on him.
民名。
I guess this is what Misa should have done.
来てるんだ。そうだ。
Now is him following her and she. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, she was running towards the blast zone. I mean, moving that way. How far did she get in half a second?
I don't know.
そうだ。
一条くん、
大丈夫？
一体これは
敵中だ。それもかなりの規模の。
どうして今まで気がつかなかったの？
Oh, they probably came from behind.
だけど今日のは本格的だ。
私はマクロスに戻ります。
綾瀬少佐、僕も出撃します。ご無事で。
あなたこそ。
Right to the end. Right to the end, we're still pulling this. One bomb and this could all be over.
民名。
どうしてそんなにまでして戦いに行くの？
Look around you. That's why he has to keep fighting. Because the other side hasn't given up.
あなたは一体誰のために歌を歌うの？自分のため、それともあなたの歌を愛してくれる人たちのためじゃなくて？
Which is exactly what Kaifun said.
私たちが戦いに行くのもあなたが歌を歌うことと同じ理由なのよ。そんな。
さあ、君は早くシェルター
Because
に
we
避難
like it? I'm sorry, I think I lost the track on that one.
言うな。僕は軍人なんだ。君をこの町を守らなきゃならないんだ。
いや、だったら私も一緒に連れてって。一人ぼっちにしないで。
民名、ごめん。だけど君は一人ぼっちなんかじゃない。
Yeah, I guess to be fair, you are the least alone person on the planet. Everyone loves you.
I mean, fame is not the same thing as being with somebody. I suppose.
敵の動きは
崩壊一隻
高速接近中。距離約50キロ、一時方向、高度300。了解。
敵艦司法塾戦場に入ります。
よーし、全艦砲撃準備。主砲発射後、空戦ポットは前期出動。
So it's like, we're just going to attack the wreck before we leave?
続いて接近中。高エネルギー反応増大。直撃来ます。
マクロスが。少佐、応答してください。
Yeah, but I guess it was just like a symbol at this point.
早瀬少佐。
Yeah.
しょー。
I don't think we've ever seen Hikaru care so much. Like, the voice actor literally had like a cadence to his voice. Like, sounded like he was really crying.
こっちもダメです。すべてのコントロール権が使用不能です。どうします、少佐。このままではマクロスは。ここはあの頃のままなんですね、艦長。ブリッジへ上がります。みんな急いで。
I don't
This
know,
is the
man.
first time we see.
That bridge looked all fucked up. I didn't think it would. I guess it's fine.
みんな遅いわ。
クローディア。
Like, we were in here just minutes ago,
白員直ちに
and I could swear there was like just shit falling off of the walls.
これよりマクロスは発進する。
それじゃあ飛べるんですか、マクロスは。
ああ、短時間ならなんとかな。
艦長。
全員発進スタンバイ。
Are we gonna punch Qualms to death with the Macross? Is it gonna be
hope so.
it's gonna be a
Yeah.
deadless punch?
That would be cool, actually. Punching him to death.
反応の出力上昇。各作業班は浮上
I feel like that's what they want to do. They want to end on an action note.
作動良好。発進5秒前。3。
I was actually fine with Qualms getting away from all of this. I thought he was gonna take his new ship, fly off, and never be heard from again. It's like a hanging threat for whatever else comes after this. Hey, it's the mayor. Seen him in a while. Yes, everybody run out of the bunker. Run away from safety. Is that
We
Yoshi?
get the music.
Is that Yoshio?
It could be.
マクロスが飛ぶ。
We get the theme song.
Yeah, we've only done this 10 times.
Yeah, but singing in the show.
Yeah, no, we've done this a few
発
times.
射1分前。
There's been a number
Well,
of action scenes where they thought this is the moment. Now is the time to do it.
敵艦付近より直ちに退去せよ。
I still find it funny that they use the tire squealing sound for him landing.
退去せよ。
少佐、無事だったんですか。
これより四方を発射します。直ちに
Yeah, it'll take more than an enemy cannon to kill me, so.
了解。了解。
And they kind of missed.
I think they tore off a whole section of the ship. Wow, kind of falling apart there. Didn't have anything left in the old Macross.
さあ、おいがれ、このまま突っ込むぞ。おいがれ。
Well, he's not.
Uh,
おお、死んだ。
Well, no, you will die. It's the whole ramming thing.
後で分解しようぜ
We'll do some culture.
行くぞ
When I was doing the character ranking and I was looking at the board and everything, I was like, I'm surprised this guy hasn't died yet. Ogar, I mean.
敵艦方向変わりました
Well,
突っ込んできま
it's
す
another X to put on the board.
なんてやつだ
敵艦攻撃敵を回避せよ補助反応の不調マクロス操作不能
敵艦距離300メートル
回避不能
We'll punch them. I can't help but notice that the pilot back there who had a shield is the only one that blew up. They miss?
They were heavily damaged. They did took a huge chunk of the Macross, so
Yeah, but was that not from the main cannon thing that they fired? Or the fact that
No.
Macross like was falling apart after it fired its main cannon?
no, it sheared the Daedalus off when it hit.
I would say that those two loved each other, but I think they were actually just culture addicts.
Yeah, probably.
Honestly, I think this is one of those rare situations that a polycule would be the answer.
あなたこそお疲れ様
It does not seem like they have a problem with each other, Min-Mei and Misa. I mean,
Yeah, once they talk about it, yeah.
私どこか知らない町へ行くわ
those don't exist. You've been everywhere.
もう歌をやめるなんて言わない
それがいいよみんな
早瀬さんそれがいつになるかはわからないけど私が本当の自分の歌を歌えるようになったらその時は私も乗せていただけますかあなたの船に喜んでそしてあなたの歌をこの宇宙いっぱいに響き渡らせましょうありがとう
Turns out they fall in love with each other, don't care about Hikaru anymore.
Yeah. That would be the remake.
その時は
The
元気でいてねヒカル
See, if they had done this like 3 episodes or 4 episodes ago, it would have all worked out.
それじゃあ行くわまたね
I guess my real problem is that they all commit to something life-changing every episode.
Yeah. Or what seems to be life-saving and then it gets erased.
I'm just mean there's no settle time. I'm gonna drop everything and live with you. I'm gonna give up music. I'm gonna wander around and sing. It's, what?
ええ民名って子は僕なんかにつなぎ止めておけませんよ
そう
I mean, she literally could.
それより聞こえ
No,
ます
you're probably gonna leave anyway.
民名の歌
歌
I took your tenderness for granted. Wow, that's poignant.
ええ聞こえるわヒカルだからしばらくさよなら
Oh, I like that. That's nice at least. 2012.
2012.
I guess that was Misa's hand?
No. It was this has always been Minmei.
That does not make any sense. I only say it doesn't make any sense because the concept is that Minmei has a photo album of herself. I don't
I
mean to
think-
say that she's so egotistical that all of her photos are of herself. Typically, you have
Yeah.
photos of maybe you with other people, but it's
Yeah.
literally just her, which means she's been in places where people were taking her picture and then asked for that picture.
Yeah, I think these are supposed to be pictures that Hikaru took, right?
But then why is she
And kept.
closing the album at the end of the whole story?
Yeah.
I don't know, it doesn't make much sense either that it would be Misa's photo album full of Minmay pictures, unless we're going
Yeah.
with my alternative theory that they fell in love with each other.
And Hikaru got dumped by both of them. Okay, this is the reason why I was waiting to the very end, because the way I remember it, it was a little more wrought when they translated it, right? But in the end, everybody sort of settles down, which is kind of, it's good writing, but it's so frustrating because they could have done that like 5 episodes ago, right? It should have been the end.
Well, they
And
could
this
have
is
done it 9
why,
episodes ago,
yeah,
on
I
episode
mean, this is,
27, where it should have ended.
yeah, yeah. And I've always been a Misa Hikaru or Rick Hunter / Lisa Hayes chipper, right?
That's a weird
Like
combo. Obviously, you're doing Claudia a huge disservice.
well, Roy and
Oh,
Claudia
Rick
together.
Hunter. Sorry, you said Rick
Yeah,
Hunter, which I now recognize as the American version of
yeah.
Hikaru, right? And I'm thinking, you said Rick Hunter, I'm thinking Roy Fokker, because that sounds more like that than Hikaru
Yeah,
Ichijo.
yeah. Which it isn't. They completely changed the name. I always liked them. Now, again, this sort of final arc, because it is a sort of self-contained arc in a way, the post-war arc, would have been awesome. But for the fact that they wrapped it around and made it fit and forge into the love story. Now, having said that, I said earlier, I feel more for Ling Ming Mei now than I used to when I was a kid. Because I felt, oh no, she friend zoned Rick Hikaru, right? She's playing with the feelings. Like now I kind of understand that she was a young girl, 15, 16-year old, got trapped in a situation way beyond her control. Not only because of the fame, but also that she became like the poster girl for human culture. I mean, and the turning point of this war and all of that. And then finds herself being basically a tool of her cousin who manipulates her all the time. And she doesn't. Her dream of becoming an idol was because that was her expressing herself. Even the fact that she wanted to get married, I feel that it was, these are the expectations that other people have of me, right? And she could never properly be her, right?
I don't know about
And then,
the marriage thing being an expectation. I think that might just be, well, again, we know this is written by men, it feels like, but I feel like that's just that childhood dream. Settle down, get married, find a good man.
yeah.
It also might be an era thing, right? I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know how far back, but like you watch like Little House on the Prairie or something like that, and that's the dream of a settlement thing. But yeah, no. Certainly, the first half of the show is very much the idealism of a young girl, leading to dreams fulfilled. The whole I sent in a thing to become a singer. I guess I'm not going to be able to do that since we're out in Pluto, and no, now the Macross TV station thing is fulfilling my dream, and oh, I've become successful, and now I'm trapped in my success, and that I feel should have ended at 27. Not the show.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it feels like a second season of Macross should have happened after 27, where we really explore everything, give everything time to blossom. But we already know they kind of had to cut off, and then they got we giving you a couple more episodes from funding. I really feel like they should have ended at 27, and then they see if they were successful or not, and then come back for more funding for a whole new season. And in that, we could have explored the concept of Minmay breaking off from her stardom to try to, find herself, because obviously we're dealing with the post-exhaustion Kaifun Minmay. I feel like they could have not done the manipulation arc. I would have been happy if the Kaifun manipulation arc didn't happen, or maybe it could have. I don't know if it's all that important or not. But I really feel like they could have just explored Minmay exploring that facet of herself from the past and acknowledging that maybe this isn't what she wants to do right now, or the feel showgirls. Like you said, she has
Yeah.
a whole showgirls arc where she's post stardom, but still in the world.
Yeah.
It's in a weird place where a lot of this feels like filler, just to fill in time. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I feel like ironically, given more time, they could have explored it better.
Yeah. And then there's Hikaru, which again, had they not tried to shoehorn it into the triangle, the idea that that these two women represent. I mean, in the last episode, we actually says this, right? Can we go back to what we were before, right? Because he was a reluctant warrior, right? He didn't want to be a soldier. He didn't want to be a fighter pilot. He wanted to be a pilot. He came to convince Roy to leave the military and go back to the circus, right? But he was forced by circumstances to become, what he is
Well, it
and
was
embracing that.
Minmay that said, "Can we go back to what we were before?" Though.
Yeah, that's what he was thinking. Basically, he was, she was articulating what he always been thinking about Lin May, right?
Well,
Which is,
Hikaru in this scenario is just a fucking idiot. He
yeah,
is the emotional puppy who's drawn out by any. Literally, Misa pulls on him what he pulled on Minmay. They're all idiots, I guess.
yeah,
Because he pulls this on Minmay, and Minmay gives up everything to come after him, and
uh
then
huh,
and then Misa pulls it on him, and what does he do? Goes running after her immediately. Because this is look, all romance people. There's one trick all romance people hate. I don't know. I'm trying to pull that one meme, but literally they all do one thing, and it works on every one of them. It's literally bullshit. It's stupid. They're all fucking puppies at this point.
yeah. I mean, well, what if he had stayed, right, and not chased after her? That scene would have been better because it's like, okay, I'm being the adult in the room. Well, they were outside, but still telling you what's going on. This is what's going to happen. These are my feelings, and we're done, right? We're done. But then she goes and he runs after her, and then the explosions happen. It's like, had he run after her? Well, actually, no. He runs after her when the explosions happen.
He runs after her. Minmay gets in the way. Explosions then happen, and then he runs
Yeah,
after
exactly.
her for real because he has to make sure she's okay.
Yeah, and that have happened that way. The way I was saying, it kind of makes a little more sense, right? Because he cares about Misa at least as a human being. Like, we know this, even though he's an idiot.
Well, he was
But
running after her romantically or emotionally, and then he was
yeah,
running after her safety.
yeah,
I mean, I
but
don't know. I don't feel like the running had to happen at all. Like, literally, I think it would have been better served if in the middle of their conversation the explosions happened. That there was no
that too.
running. Because the running thing is what I'm getting at. It makes it look like he's a
Yeah,
fucking idiot. He has no
yeah,
emotional ability to control what he wants. The same
yeah,
thing was when he makes a plan with Misa and then gets a call from Minmay and he breaks up everything. It's like whoever's talking to him in the moment has 100% of his trust. Like,
yeah.
like I don't know. That's why Roy was so important to have around. Roy kept snapping him back into, okay, you're not talking to anybody but me right now, and you have no romantic interest in me. What is it that you want?
Yeah. Um, and also, I think going back, I think they killed Roy a little too soon.
I,
It
I
would have been,
I
yeah,
think they killed him appropriately timed if they were going to end on episode 27. But like I said,
yeah,
there was a lot of times that I just wish that he was still around. Because, again, he saves episodes, even posthumously. It's just, I would have liked to have seen him at the end of the war. Like, he's the war hero guy. He didn't get to see the culmination of everything he fought for. Which is sad, but I guess that's also the depth of his death, right? Is that he doesn't get to see what he's been fighting for. Not that I think he'd be happy with it, because literally everybody on Earth dies. You gotta think that Roy has friends everywhere. He's that kind of guy. So he would have
yeah.
had dealing with the fact that, oh god, that's 300 other women I don't have to call back. I don't know.
Sounds like my dad.
He seems like the kind
Uh,
of guy who'd also, he'd be torn up by it, but would also be making jokes.
Although I think it would have been very interesting if he did survive and retired.
Yeah, because then he could have shown up as an instructor in the next show or something, you know?
Yeah,
Old
no, he
man
just
Roy.
retired. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to be, the war's over. It's like, oh yeah, but the Centauri is still doing problems. Like, listen, kid, I seen it all. I seen it before. I just want a life with Claudia, and maybe he dies in an attack by the Centauri or something like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
You know,
sure. Like, sorry, I'm constantly looking for connections to be made between every season. So, your retirement theory, and he settles down with Claudia, and then next season there's just some character with the last name Fokker.
yeah,
Like
that's
the
another thing.
like LaSalle is the only name going forward, so that I can keep an eye out for as a connection between everything. Or I guess genius, technically. There's a child
Oh,
genius.
yeah, at least one. In the that's another thing is
I
like,
do know. I'll put this out there. Spoiler that I do know is that there are many genius kids, but they only show up in the games apparently.
um, Milia, what they did to Milia
Is
with
down
the
to culture.
yeah. Although later on she's like, no, I'm a fighter pilot and I'm kicking ass and stuff like that, which is good, right? She gets her own plane, which
They
is the
gave her
right plane,
agency,
which is
which was
fine.
my whole
Yeah,
complaint about the marriage episode.
yeah, yeah. Again, if they had better, yeah, I think that's also one of the problems that this series has is ultimately its pacing. Either goes too fast or it goes too slow, right? And it's interesting because it has a very strong, start. Which is many shows that have problems with pacing, they start on the wrong foot. They either start too early or too late in the action, right? And they try to do a media rest, and it's like, yeah, but I needed some context for what was happening, and you didn't give me. And then they give you some context like 20 episodes later, and you're like, oh, okay, whatever, I don't care anymore. Or they start too early, like they do the epilogue thing. We have to tell you all the things that happened before. It's like, yeah, but this happens like 10 years later. Why we're not talking about that, which is going to be the rest of the show, right? That I think ultimately, that and the romantic triangle now with Flub are the two major problems this show has. Having said that, I mean, this brings back a lot of memories for me. This is one of the anime shows I grew up with. And ironically enough, when I was a kid, I loved it because it was adult, right? It talked about war and love in a way that wasn't like, oh, we're just gonna punch people in the face in next episode. We defeated the bad guys, and then the bad guys show up again. It's like, oh, it wasn't like that. It was a GI Joe firing a million bullets and nobody gets hurt or killed, right? And it's like, oh yeah,
Can't believe
but
how many
still,
shows we talk about that G.I. Joe comes up in. I'm constantly bringing up the fact that G.I. Joe was very of its era of we can't show harm on TV, so we got to show all the pilots ejecting out of their planes, or the commandos are robots. Same thing goes for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where the Foot Clan are all robots. Can't show
yeah.
Leonardo
Well,
chopping a man in half, but a robot is fine.
I mean, Robotech, now Macross, wasn't my first anime, but it was, ironically enough, not one that was as deeply what the term is flanderized. That is, show for television. Like if you watch the reruns of, say, Battle of the Planets. Well, one of the things that, or Messenger, one of the things they would say was, "Oh, the army's activating and they're destroying all the tanks and all the planes which were supposed to be robots instead of people flying them and driving them in the tanks." Right? Like in the real show, people are getting killed left and right, right? But in the American version, it's like, oh no, they destroyed some robots, right? And the enemies are robots and stuff like that, right? Like there's when the fighting sequences, when one of the leader has like a boomerang like shuriken thing, he's literally cutting the throats out of the enemies, but we're told, oh no, he's just knocking them out, right?
Oh yeah, the whole
This,
the whole Batman joke. They're all
yeah,
asleep. I knock everyone asleep. They're so tired after fighting me.
yeah, yeah, and so
Batman, you have spikes on your.
and now in this show, yeah, we don't. For example, the scene with the 3 bullet holes that got cut off in the Robotech version because blood and all that. But the fact that Roy died because of his wounds, it's not right, and he doesn't magically appear later on, go like, "Oh, I got revived." Right? It was just a scratch. Right? It doesn't happen. When I was a kid, that was like, "Oh my god, that is so deep." looking back, it's like, well, yes, but also you have the kind of feeling of childishness of let's do a soap opera for an romantic triangle. Let's keep it alive for like 9 episodes. I'm like,
That's the problem with one, aging, and two,
uh huh.
nostalgia goggles, is that you remember back to the things that did these things first, at least
Hmm.
for your perspective, and then you hold them in such high esteem in your mind. Like, oh man, you have no idea how important this was. I've never seen anything like this before. And then you hear about people describing kind of the same thing and stuff that they're watching, which is newer, and you're like, oh, it'll never be as good as that. And it's always better than the thing you remember because the things that they're describing are molded and formed over time and experimentation, and they're not doing it the first time, fiddling around with stuff, trying to figure out how to do this one thing. They're molding it in storytelling that's been, you know, cooked in the oven of storytellers ever since that first time. Your
Hmm.
amazement and wonder and just nostalgia coated goggles of looking back in time and remembering what was is like child's play compared to what happens now. And that's the problem with just idealizing old style stuff. Yeah, but yeah, that's the problem with nostalgia. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought now.
Well, I mean, I can actually see. I will not sugarcoat. I still had problems with the original, by the way. Again, the romantic triangle, but in many ways, I didn't understand a lot of concepts, right? So this show, and now seeing the original, it still holds up to me in spite of all the flaws, or even because of it, right? I appreciate the art, I appreciate the combat, I appreciate the characters more in a little way, right? I get to understand more, even as flawed as it was described. Like I said, I now more sympathetic to Lin Min Mei than I was back in the day, right? I thought she's just a brat, right? I'm more sympathetic to Misa. And Hikaru, still my boy, but he deserved a couple of slaps along the way.
Well, yeah, again,
Just
if this was aired 10 years prior, sorry, if it was made 10 years prior, there would have been slaps all around. I can't imagine a lot of these characters not getting slapped, except for Kaifun. Should have been slapped. Martial arts master.
yeah. Um, stuff like that. Um, so yeah, overall, what is your overall take? Did you I know you liked it overall, in
Yeah,
spite
yeah,
of
no,
everything.
again, just because I'm flippant towards the reaction part of the process doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. It just means that I can see there's a lot to be made fun of. If it was so serious that I couldn't crack a joke at it, then I don't know, I'd probably enjoy it less. Because that would be straight 100% drama. But there's fun to be made in drama anyway. Anyway, my flippancy is not the issue, is what I'm saying. Don't take me saying something is dumb as it being actually dumb. It just means that I don't agree with the character's choices in the moment. It's not a
All right.
writing issue. That's just a perspective issue. Yeah, no, I think I've covered this. If you want more of my thoughts, go back to last episode for my point 0.5 breakdown of the Macross series, where I said that this thing deserves a remake, where we could cut down possibly to 12 episodes and have a really good short season out of it. I mean, I enjoyed the ride. It was a good ride. It wasn't what I expected. I think mostly because once we teleported to the orbit of Pluto, I expected that the show was going to be the entire trip back to Earth. Like we were going to spend our time dealing with Centrati, uh, dealing with a really a long trip through the solar system. Maybe like a Battlestar Galactica meets a Star Trek Voyager, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we like got back way early, and of course I didn't anticipate the planet was gonna get annihilated. Not that that
Yeah.
seemed to have mattered very much.
Well, yes, and that's I think that's one of the problems that you see when later on is like they set up the situation. Oh my god, it's gonna be such a difficult situation. Like, oh, you have all these people in the ship. Are you gonna feed them and stuff like that? They lampshaded a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, we got some rations. Okay, we got rations. What about fuel? Well, yeah, we go here, right? Oh, we got more rations in the Mars. They touch about it and they they take it about halfway. Like, yeah, we acknowledge it and we're gonna do something about it, but we're never gonna put it to the point where it's like so bad that becomes a complete downer, right? Because I think that's kind of thing they're always trying to avoid that extreme situation. Even after destroying the earth, it's like yeah, a couple of years later, there's flowers, there's some places where you have forests, so the earth is healing, right? Although they do say that they're deliberately attempting to reforest the earth, right? But it's like yeah, things where they're bad, but it's at best it goes to for bittersweet as opposed to like no, listen, we're in a crisis. We're on the edge of dying here unless we do something radically, right?
I guess that's one of my problems with the series is that they create problems and then don't address them or try to hand wave them after the fact.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be cool if we had to deal with this? Yes, it would be, but we don't have the time to address that. So, what we're going to do is say that it happened and just assume that at some point off screen it got handled.
Yeah, I mean, for example, the whole we're running out of supplies. Well, they don't talk about run supplies, but then they go to Mars base and resupply, right? And again, let's go to Earth and resupply. Okay, so it's like very easy solutions to what should be more monumental problems.
Like, the example that comes to mind is the whole resupply thing, right? I obviously am going to pull from examples from other shows. Say, Gundam Seed, right? Gundam Seed will show, oh, we're rationing water. Someone's begging for water because they're so thirsty. That sort of thing. And then when we need to resupply, we show people going out and collecting the things that they need to resupply with. Like the Janus 7 wreckage, which is like this whole explosion. It's just basically when they transported Macross Island with them in the fold.
Yeah.
Basically all of that. It's like a whole place that's just out in space, and you see them like chainsawing bits of iceberg, effectively, out of space. They showed us a giant comedy fish. Instead of showing us the important stuff, like taking it seriously, we wanted to, yuck it up by showing the Min-Mei Hikaru relationship as it was.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't take the serious parts seriously until it was so serious as like Roy's death, or like they didn't even. I said I wanted like a Roy memorial episode. I guess we got that later on with the rain episode after the world was destroyed. But it doesn't seem like they carried over the serious elements until they were so serious that they had to deal with it, like the destruction of Earth. But then we don't cover very much about the after effects of everybody on Earth being dead.
Yeah, it's like it kind of reminds me of Mass Effect Andromeda. Oh, we only have like 100,000 or so people, and then you go to a planet, and these mobs of humans and Asari just keep popping up. And you're like, I killed more people than there were in the ship I'm supposed to be in. How the hell these people showed up, right? It's like,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Yeah,
yeah,
don't worry about it.
I mean, that's a drawback of that game too. I always wanted to know what happened to. I can't remember the name. The ones that are always in spacesuits because they can't handle bugs.
The Quarians.
Yeah, the missing Quarian ship. That's always like I wanted a DLC or something.
To me, the fact that the Quarians would even jump to the Andromeda Galaxy doesn't make any sense. But
What do you
that's
mean?
just neither here.
That makes perfect sense. They're literally a migrant people. What that
Yeah,
is
but it's
perfect
not-
for them.
No, the problem is that they're so stuck in their own fleet trying to survive in the Milky Way. They would take thousands of them. It's like, oh, we're just going to take thousands
Do
of our
you
people.
not remember their whole thing about going out to collect new shit and bring it back to the fleet? What if you got like
Yeah.
a whole colony ship of Quarians that were literally on that mission, so that they go to the Andromeda Galaxy to collect new shit with the intent to then, bring it back Mass Effect style?
They can bring it back because it's a 1,200-year round trip.
They can bring it back. I mean, they might not be the same fleet when they get back. Hopefully, there still is a fleet, but
Yeah,
or they're forming their own fleet. It could be that the Quarian fleet's gotten to such a point that we have enough that we can split off. Especially now that the whole Geth thing is taken care of, assuming that you play it that way.
Yeah, no, actually, no, because the Andromeda is between 2 and 3, so that wouldn't have been an issue. In fact, in the opposite, because the Aquarians are preparing for war. They're like, oh, we're going to go on a war. We don't need everybody to fight this war. Oh, well, you 2, 3, 5, 10,000 people just go.
To
Okay,
tie
so
it back into Macross, they could be pulling the whole we're building more, more ships. We're going to spread ourselves throughout the galaxy in order to make sure that no one thing can take us out and our culture doesn't die off. They're splitting the fleet between 2 galaxies now, so the Quarians never die off. Well, assumedly, we have no fucking idea what happens to the missing Quarian ship. Other than that there's a message at the end of the game. So,
Yeah. I mean, again, and they were setting up for
lost opportunities. That's the theme of both Mass Effect Andromeda and SDF Macross.
And they clearly were setting up a sequel hook with, oh, we built a new ship, right? So the adventure continues.
Well, I think that's the thing I brought up at the very beginning of the show, when it's SDF-1. Again, but the hubris to say that there's going to be another one.
We're gonna put a pin on that one because
well, obviously there's other series, so obviously I don't think that I was not calling anything out there. I guess I also pointed out that Britai was never going to show up again, and he didn't, and I don't imagine he will again, other than the movie, of course.
So yeah, that's all. I mean, there's a lot more to say, but there's more context, because Do You Remember Love does bring a lot of context to it, and if we are able to show 2012 as well, it brings even more context. So I don't want to say anything. Not so much spoilers, is that it's like speaking in a vacuum, right?
Well,
we haven't seen it, so
I think the element we have is that before we get to those, we'll be recording character ranking and a top 5 episode thing. So if you do wind up having more thoughts about everything between here and then, we still have that you can bring them up in. So doesn't have to be final thoughts. Also, hell, we mention anything in all of these recordings anyway. We could be 7 episodes deep into 3 seasons from now and mention, I was just thinking about SDF Macross the other day.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, not impossible. But otherwise, I think that means we're done here. So this is us signing out from the very last episode of SDF Macross. Once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We are Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next season and or movie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?